Evolution, the foundation of modern biology, is defined as descent with modification. This idea was introduced by Charles Darwin with the publication of his 1859 work on the origin of species. Evolution occurs due to the environment. There is microevolution, or the changes of allele frequencies in a population, and macroevolution, presented by large changes in organism forms. Evidence of evolution is seen in many situations. Examples of such include fossil records, comparative anatomy, embryology, molecular homology, and biogeography. Nearly every, if not all, organisms are able to undergo evolution. Even some molecular compounds, which may not necessarily be classified as organisms, may partake in it. One example of this is the evolution of viruses.
It can be like diseases or anything that can like infect you, but they're different from bacteria.
They're like little things, little things that like spread disease and all kinds of awful things to human beings.
Bacteria that goes into your body and grows.
A virus, meaning poison in Latin, is an infectious agent generally composed of a nucleic acid surrounded by a protein coat, which is encapsulated by a lipid envelope. The building blocks of viruses are called virions. The protein coat protects the genetic information. The lipid envelope is only present when the virus is outside of a host cell. This is the only place in which a virus can replicate itself. They inject the host cell with their genetic makeups and thereafter can take control of the cell and its functionalities. Viruses can be spread in various ways, including through the air, contact with an infected organism, transfer of bodily fluids, in food, or via insects such as mosquitoes. Some examples of viruses are chickenpox, hepatitis, Ebola, cold sores, and even the common cold. Whether or not viruses are living entities is a hotly debated topic among professionals. Although viruses are unable to grow and maintain homeostasis, are not made of cells and have organelles, all of which are basic criteria that classify living things, they are able to multiply, use energy, adapt to surroundings, and have high levels of organizations. So what do you think?
Yes, they are. I think some viruses grow when they're in your body, which is why it becomes a virus. It starts off with a bacteria and then grows.
I just found out that they are not alive, so that's why it is hard to kill them.
Yes, they can evolve when we try to treat them, and like they can adapt to the vaccines that we make. So we need to like constantly keep updating like how we're trying to like attack them.
Yes, definitely. They can get worse over time.
Viruses can evolve in three ways: natural selection, recombination, and mutation. Viruses evolve by natural selection just like anything else does. The more fit the virus, the higher likelihood of survival and replication. Thus, more of this virus will be produced, and viruses that are less fit will start to die off. Recombination is a process by which two viruses exchange information. As they both infect the same cell at the same time, there are many genomes floating around in that cell. Genomes are able to break themselves up and pair with segments of similar composition. When segments swap with each other, this is called reassortment. The last way viruses evolve, as you recall, is through mutation. RNA viruses have a higher mutation rate than DNA viruses do. This is because RNA uses RNA polymerase enzymes to encode genetic information, while DNA uses DNA polymerase enzymes. RNA polymerase does not double-check sequences like DNA polymerase does, thus resulting in more opportunity for errors. The evolution of viruses is very rapid. Because they have a higher mutation rate than most host cells, there is more variation in the starting material. Large population size and a short life cycle also account for quick evolution. For example, the life of HIV only lasts for 52 hours.
Viruses are not the same as regular human cells because they don't carry out the same functions as human cells.
They rely on the host for their source of energy in order to carry out these basic functions. Like any cell-based life, viruses are able to undergo evolution and natural selection. What causes these mutations, which in turn lead to adaptations to a specific environment, are the genetic changes within the genome of the virus. Mutations such as recombination and a random mutation can provide these viruses with a better ability to fend off antibodies and to continue to replicate within the host. If two different viruses infect the cell at the same time, they can create a mixed species of viruses that have unique properties which makes it harder to be destroyed in terms of the human body defense mechanism. This process is also known as the recombination process. Because viruses are so small and they replicate so quickly, they can cause a tremendous amount of harm toward the human body, simply because the body doesn't recognize them. Viruses replicate quickly and enormously, making it hard to effectively fight them off. The natural defense against viruses is commonly known as the immune system. Antibodies target the foreign body and attack in order to protect the host. As stated before, viruses need energy because they can't create it on their own. They invade the host cell and replicate within the body in order to perform the basic biological processes. The continued evolution of viruses will eventually lead to an overall drug resistance. It will be harder to fight against these superviruses because they will have adapted to the human body defense mechanism, also known as the immune system. Similar to the HIV treatment method, we can apply the HART method, also known as the highly active antiretroviral therapy, in order to combat these superviruses by providing a cocktail of drugs which will inhibit the evolution of viruses.
Viruses are always evolving, which makes it difficult to prevent them from infecting organisms with drugs. As stated earlier, a solution to slow this evolution is giving patients a cocktail of drugs. An example on how this works is if a virus develops an immunity towards one drug, the other drugs in the cocktail will neutralize that virus. In order to decrease the rapid spread of viruses, it is imperative that individuals, infected and non-infected, are educated in how to promote proper hygiene. Washing hands frequently and covering nose and mouth when coughing decreases the spread of viruses. Vaccination will also protect from some types of viruses.